So much of our relational pain, suffering, and anxiety is a result of us taking things far too personally. Now, that's not a criticism at anybody. We all do the same thing. We all give ourselves an overinflated starring role in other people's minds and other people's lives. And the reality is, oftentimes, it's our past experiences where we may have embodied something like feeling ashamed or belittled or rejected as a child that provide our blueprint for our adult relationships. So we carry that blueprint with us and we assume that that's the way every other relationship is going to be. And when our brain has a story or a construct or a blueprint for something, what it does is it finds evidence to support that theory or that blueprint, and consequently we look for evidence, and we actually find evidence in our adult relationships that support this feeling of I am rejected, I am belittled, I feel ashamed. And it can cause us so much unnecessary pain and suffering. Likewise, we tend to assume that other people are out to get us, that they're out to hurt us, and we have this idea that because we think about ourselves a lot, other people think about us a lot as well. And the reality is, I mean, we have very little time in other people's minds, for the most part. And we have to kind of accept the fact that they're as egocentric and as self centered as we are. They're thinking about themselves a lot. And if they hurt us or if their behavior insults us or causes us suffering, it's more than likely because they are suffering in some way. They're feeling bad about themselves. They're experiencing a trigger from their past that is making them want to lash out. So it's being able to view both ourselves and other people with compassion and making an assumption that is kind, as opposed to making an assumption or coming to a conclusion that is hurtful and that disconnects our relationships and that creates, a space between us instead of bringing us closer together. Because again, we have a choice about the story we tell ourselves, and this is particularly applicable with, what's going on at the minute with the pandemic. Basically, other people are going to be behaving quite differently based on the fact that they're scared, based on the fact that they feel threatened, based on the fact that they may not be getting sufficient sleep or their anxiety may be gone into overdrive. And consequently, they're going to engage differently with you. And we have two choices. We can take it personally and think, oh my God, I must have pissed them off in some way, and or get really angry at them and be like, who are they to fucking treat me like that? Or we can just be like, okay, I see the other person suffering. I recognize that it has triggered a pain in me, but I'm not going to let it get into my head. I'm not going to ruminate over this all day, or I'm not going to lash out at the other person unnecessarily. I'm just going to try and let this go. I'm going to try and breathe through it, and I'm going to try and heal myself a little bit in this moment, because again, we can waste so much of our precious energy being angry or worrying that somebody is, kind of hating against us, or, that we've annoyed them in some way. I mean, God knows I'm the queen bee there, because like I love rumination. I love assuming that everyone else, is out to get me. And the reality is very seldom is it true. So it's about really pausing when you feel yourself triggered by the pain of rejection or the pain of somebody else's behavior. Taking a really deep breath, tapping into your inner child and asking your child, what is it that's going on for you right now? What do you need in this very moment? And if it's just soothing, kind of talk to yourself and remind yourself, okay, I have no way of knowing what other people are thinking or what's going on for other people. However, I have a way that I can be kind to myself. And that way of being kind to myself involves me telling myself a different story about what's going on for that other person. So if I can look at that other person and think, oh my my God, possibly something is coming up for them right now. Maybe they're struggling in some way. Maybe I can just be kind to them and hope that they find it within themselves to be kind back. Life gets so much easier. And as I said, you're not wasting all of that energy. And it's about being able to detach yourself from the thoughts which you feel compelled to hold on to. Because when we have a blueprint for things, we tend to nearly stick to it. You know, we want to prove our brains right. So we nearly attach ourselves to the things that cause us pain, to the thoughts that cause us pain. And it's about recognizing that in doing so, we keep ourselves in a state of anxiety. We keep ourselves in pain. And if we can nearly have this ubiquitous kind of mindset where we assume everyone is doing the best that they can and assume everyone is inherently good and inherently kind, and that we're all struggling, that there's this kind of common humanity of suffering with us all, and the nicer we are with each other, the better off we're going to be. And the more engaged we are, the more we practice agency over what it is we can control, which is regulating our emotions and being discerning with our thoughts, the better off we're going to be. You know, the more consciously we can live our lives, and the more we can inject that energy into more positive places, you know, into helping others, into becoming the best version of ourselves that we can be, you know. And we can move away from a place of trying to please others, or always feeling that what we do or what we say has a massive influence over other people, and just try instead to influence ourselves to become a little bit better, a little bit kinder, a little bit more benevolent in the way that we engage with the world. Because again, we can spend our whole days in pain, or we can spend them in a place of joy, purpose, and fulfillment. So if you find that you are constantly assuming that other people are out to get you, or if you find yourself continuously anxious because of your relationships, then I can help you start to challenge those distorted thoughts, and I can help you deal with those really intense, painful emotions that come up as a result. Get in touch with me on my website. It's fundamentals.ie. You'll also get me on any of the social media platforms. Fundamentals Fiona is Instagram, and Fundamentals is the Facebook page. YouTube is Fiona Feely. I hope everyone stays well, particularly in the current circumstances. Just practice everything that we're being told, all of the medical advice, and take care of each other.